Hello, Yubi Juby! Here I am. Finally, I can finish off my Heralds of Unicron videos. Yes. And here we are with Scourge and his sweeps. Now, as you can see, quite clearly, one of these is not the same as the others. Technically, they're all different, but you know what I mean. Now, many people use the United Scourge here as Scourge, and then the Hasbro one here as the sweeps. His wings come off as the sweeps, and you know what? That's what I was originally going to do once I got United Scourge here. Thank you very much, Cassie. But originally I was going to get a titanium one for the Scourge, but yeah, then I thought I'll use that and use two of those for thingy. But then at auto assembly I found Botcon Scourge, so I thought, you know what, sod it, I'll use the Botcon one for Scourge and I'll use the two sweeps, these two as sweeps, and that way the sweeps are also slightly different. As you know, I only wanted two sweeps. Of course, now I have two sweeps on the shelf with him. I am now wanting to pick up a second one of them for another sweep. Oh, it's a curse. It is a real bad curse. You just can't stop. Oh dear. But anyway, yes, let's talk about the Botcon. Well, let's talk about Botcon Scourge. Now, I thought about giving this guy his own video, but to be honest, Scourge and his sweeps, I'll just do them all at once. Because I don't do reviews anyway, I just give opinions on them. That's why these things aren't called reviews. You see, they're not reviews. Now, and as you can see, Botcon Scourge is a repaint of the Cybertron Sideways, which is a figure I've been wanting for a few years now as well. So it's like, I have this mold and I have a Scourge. That's crossing two things off me list at once. Now, like the classics, generations, whatever Scourge, as you can see, he's about the same size, and he's a low angled, he's a bit of a thin wing bomber kind of thing playing, and they're actually very similar. The general shape, size, dimensions, they are actually really similar once you get them in hand, but obviously this guy is a bit more alien and has a lot more detailing. Hence why this guy gets to be Scourge. Now, he holds together nicely. You know, there's no ball joints to fall off or anything like that. He's a nice tidy figure, and he's nice and reminiscent of Scourge. He's got some beautiful silver detailing on him. His patterns, his wings gone crazy. He's got some beautiful silver detailing on him. And in fact, just all over, it's just beautiful detailing everywhere. Very glad I picked this guy up. Very glad. Also, I finally have a Botcon. It's the only Botcon I'm going to get, but you know, it's a nice airplane. Now, something that you can do, you can pop his wings off. All these bits. Where they go? Oh no! You're pulling his leg off. Fold these in. That's not right. See, I can only do this one-handed because I'm holding the camera with the other hand. That's also not going to work, is it? Yeah, that'll do. Something like that. You can go like that. And then you can see what I'm going to do, can't you? Hang on, I'm going to have to put the camera down for this. Whoa. You can do this and give him more of a G1 look, with the central tower poking up and the lack of a wings. And you know, I like him like this. I prefer him I'll keep him in the other mode so he matches these guys. But you know, if you want just an alternative look to him, especially if you have sideways, I think this looks very nice. Very nice indeed. So that's sideways, not sideways, that's Scourge. Very nice figure, very, very nice. And yes, he has a Cyber Planet key, but I'm not going to plug that in now. And then you've got the Classics Scourge, who will be the sweeps on my shelf. Now, you can quite blatantly tell the Hasbro one to the Japanese one. Why? Well, let's have a look, shall we? The Japanese one. He has a nice solid white top. It matches in here, and it makes sense to have this line here, the break point, as that looks, you know, that looks like a nice full set, doesn't it? It matches in quite nicely. And he has blue running the entire length of his wings, which again is very nice. He's got no kibble anywhere whatsoever. He doesn't have visible head syndrome, because this guy is an airplane, so he's allowed to. You're allowed to look underneath for visible head syndrome on this guy. Cars doesn't make sense, but this guy, yeah, it makes sense on this guy. But you know, he's like a boomerang. I'm not going to throw him like a boomerang because I don't want to break him. But you know, it's a good, solid plane. And yes, hardy ha, he's got landing gear. And yes, hardy ha, you can flying along. Want me to gut Ultra Magnus? I just love how they've included that as a little option. It does look funny. And then we move to the Hasbro one, which has blacked out windows, which in itself is fine, you know. But as you can see, the blue just randomly stops. It doesn't extend down the wings, and to me that just makes it look cheap and nasty. And also this piece is blue instead of white. It doesn't quite work as well as the Takara one did. You see, if I put them side by side, you can see it's like, well, it's hard to describe, but this one looks a lot more patchworky than that one, and all they've done is change the colour of one piece. But it's amazing how changing the colour like that can make such a massive difference. You also note the Decepticon symbol is different as well on them. And yes, the blue is different. It's more of a darker, shinier blue on the Takara one. But you know, if you can't get the Takara one, this is still a brilliant little Scourge. Anyway, on to robot mode. I haven't said that in a long time. And here they all are. Now, isn't that just precious? Okay, so like last time, we'll start with the Botcon one. And it is, considering it's just a repaint with a new head, it is actually a really nice representation of Scourge. Now, he has an arm shield, which is part of the mold, so it's like giving him extra added weapons. These wings can form blades, but I like leaving them. I prefer to leave them on his legs, just as like extra armor, that kind of thing. You know, he's got the full range of motion except for waist joints. But the head, oh, look at that head. Now you have to remember, this came out before those guys were even announced. So it's like, for a time, this was the only Generations Classic Scourge you could get. I'm losing my grip on him. And I don't know if that... No, this camera ain't focusing. I'll take some pictures and whack it on of the close-up. But his head is a beautiful Scourge head. He doesn't have a purple beard, he has a silver beard. Or is that a white beard? I can't tell. But you can see what colour his beard is. But he's sort of like an evil Alpha Trion. And they even managed to give him his little head, like that thing on top of his head. But of course they've had to sort of squidge it down so it's actually incorporated in instead of having a big giant thing stuck up. But I think that works really well. I like how that looks. I could have also picked up all the sweeps that were done like this as well, but you know what? I like having the sweeps like those guys, and just having Scourge as the odd one out. Now the silver detailing carries on into this mold, and it is really, really nice. He's even got his little knuckle dusters and a sort of semi-cape thing. For a remold, this is a beautiful version of a rendition of a Scourge. And of course he has the cyber key, which needs to plug in. Now he doesn't have the cyber faction switching gimmick. It would have been nice, it would have been rather cool if they did it with the Unicron, I think it's a Blendtron, Unicron symbol and the Decepticon symbol. That would have been rather sweet. But they didn't, so push that in there. And he has a deployable blade, so now he has a shield with a blade. And I rather like having him stand sort of like that, because you know it's like, yeah, I'm Scourge and I'm just gonna beat you senseless just for looking at me. You gotta admit, that is a pretty badass look. Put him with the sweeps. You gotta admit, that is impressive. I'll just move him to the back. Woohoo! And here we are with the Generations United sweeps. Now these, now obviously these, we'll go for the Hasbro one first. Obviously these have a much nicer rendition of Scourge. Well, I say nicer, a more G1-esque rendition of Scourge, shall we say. But there's a reason for that. These are entirely new molds, so they were designed like that from the ground up, whereas that guy wasn't. So as you can see, he is a really nice Scourge. Good posability, he even has the fingernails. The face is spot on. All in all, I cannot fault this figure. It is just absolutely fantastic. I haven't pushed his shoulders in properly, but you can see what they look like there. But yeah, all in all, I can't fault this figure. It's beautiful. He's even got his wings that fall down at the back. A little kibbly at the back. You know, having to layer everything up like that can be a little... I just realised you're going to be seeing that sideways on YouTube, aren't you? Ah, well, you can turn your heads. But yeah, it's a little layered at the back, but it comes off nicely. But what I prefer to do with them is have the wings like they are with the United guy. So they're sort of folded in slightly, but they're still bent down, not all the way, but bent down slightly, and that way it looks like he has his cape more. Because you see that guy, you've got the cape, and it's sort of, yeah, I can just about make it out behind his arms. Whereas this guy unmistakably has his cape. So I prefer to have it like that. But all in all, these are absolutely beautiful figures. If you're a fan of... Oh, he's just gone for a wonder. If you're a fan of Scourge, or you have Galvatron and Cyclonus, you should pick at least one of these up. Don't fall into the trap that I have and start sweep building. Don't start sweep building, just pick up one of them to be Scourge. The United one would be nicer because the United one is nicer. But the Hasbro one is nice as well.